Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a term you have probably seen everywhere, the dopamine detox. But is it legit? Is there actual science behind it? Or is it just another wellness trend? Let's unpack it. You know that feeling, right? You spend hours scrolling, clicking, watching. You're always busy. But at the end of the day, you just feel kind of drained, empty even. It's this weird paradox of being constantly engaged but never truly satisfied. So to combat that feeling, that digital burnout, a pretty radical solution has started to pop up everywhere. People are promising a total reset button for your brain, the dopamine detox. The core idea is simple: just intentionally step away from all that intense, easy pleasure. But what's actually going on in our brains when we do that? Okay, so before we can even get into the detox part, we first have to talk about the star of the show, dopamine. And what you think you know about it, well, it's probably not the whole story. So what is it really? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Think of it like a chemical messenger that your nervous system uses to send signals between cells. And it is absolutely crucial for how we chase our goals, how we focus our attention, and what drives us to do, well, pretty much anything. Now, this is probably the biggest myth we need to bust. We always hear dopamine called the pleasure molecule, but that's not quite right. It's less about the feeling of enjoying a reward and so much more about the motivation to go get it. It's the molecule of seeking, of wanting, not the molecule of having. Seriously, it's the engine of our ambition. It's that chemical push that makes you check a notification, the drive that makes you chase a promotion, the urge that gets you off the couch to grab a snack. It's all about the anticipation of a reward. That anticipation is the fuel. Okay, with that science in mind, let's circle back to the trend itself. When someone says they're doing a dopamine detox, what does that actually look like? What are they even doing? Well, typically it means cutting yourself off from the most powerful sources of modern stimulation. So no social media, no video games, no binge watching. It usually extends to cutting out sugary junk food, and some people even avoid listening to music. The whole point is to replace it with simpler things, like going for a walk, meditating, or just being bored. This leads us to the most critical question of all. Can you actually detox from a chemical that your brain makes on its own and, needs to function? The short answer is no, you can't. So if you're not getting rid of it, what's really happening? And to answer that, we have to look at the core operating principle of our brains. It's all about a concept called homeostasis. Homeostasis is really just a fancy word for balance. Your brain is constantly working to keep everything in a stable, neutral state. The best analogy is a thermostat. If things get too high, it works to bring them down. Too low, it works to bring them up. It's always seeking that equilibrium. So, think about what happens when we hit our brains with constant, intense stimulation. You get this huge, unnatural spike of dopamine. In response, your brain's thermostat kicks into overdrive to bring things back down, but it often overcorrects, pushing you below your normal baseline. And that dip, that is the crash. That's the feeling of being unmotivated, where nothing seems fun anymore. So here is the absolute key. The point of this practice isn't to get rid of dopamine. You wouldn't want to. The real goal is to resensitize your brain's dopamine receptors. You're giving them a break from the constant assault of high-stimulation activities. By reducing those intense highs, you allow your brain's baseline to reset, and you become more sensitive again to normal, everyday pleasures. So, let's pull all this together. What's the big takeaway here? How should we really be thinking about this trend in our own lives? First things first, dopamine detox is a super catchy name, but it's really a misnomer. A much more accurate way to describe what's going on is a stimulation fast. You're not fasting from a brain chemical, you're fasting from the overwhelming external stimuli that are flooding your system. And why does taking a break like this actually work? Well, it allows those overstimulated reward pathways in your brain to finally reset. All of a sudden, simple things like a walk or a good conversation start to feel rewarding again. You begin to take back control over your own focus, and you become way more mindful of your habits and why you're even reaching for your phone. At the end of the day, dopamine isn't the villain in this story. The real issue is the modern environment we've built, a world of infinite novelty and constant pings, all designed to trigger that dopamine system over and over and over. This quote on screen says it perfectly. The problem isn't dopamine, it's our relationship with the endless things that trigger it. So maybe the goal isn't some strict, hardcore detox after all. The final question really is for you. Do you need to detox from a chemical, or do you just need to give yourself permission to take a deliberate, mindful break from all the noise and rediscover the joy in a simpler, more present life?